Welcome back. If you've just joined us, you're watching the news at 10 on Channels Television, coming to you live from Lagos. A reminder of our top stories. Channels Television signs an MOU with partner Deutsche Welle of Germany to jointly produce a new TV environmental magazine, Eco at Africa. As the deadline for ending insurgency in the northeast draws closer, federal government reviews the nation's security situation. EFCC arraigns the founder of Africa Independent Television, Mr. Raymond Dokpasi, on a 6-count charge bordering on fraud and corrupt practices. And clashes in the southern Afghan city of Kandahar leaves at least 46 people dead. Well, let's share with you some of those pictures that were sent in to us on our portal. We can begin with this photo sent in from Ojuelegba area in Lagos State. It shows a pedestrian running across the Ikorodu highway just under a footbridge. Our eyewitness reporter wants the state authorities to enforce traffic laws. Our next photo was sent in from Ewekuru community in Ogun State, and it shows the air being polluted by white emissions from a factory. Our eyewitness reporter calls on regulatory agencies to stop the indiscriminate disposal of environmental waste. Finally is this photo from Makudi, Benue State. It shows a sports utility vehicle after a collision with a commercial bus. Our eyewitness reporter calls on the Federal Road Safety Corps to create more awareness on traffic regulations, especially during the Yuletide. Thanks a lot for sending in all your pictures, and we ask you to please send us more. 14 political parties in Bayelsa State are commending the Independent National Electoral Commission for the conduct of the December the 5th governorship elections. Addressing journalists in Yenogoa, the state capital, leaders of the parties that participated in the exercise made their views known regarding the cancellation of the election in Southern Ijaw local government area.
Southern Ijaw LGA have been collated.
Since the Bayelsa state election was declared inconclusive by the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC), it's been raising tension in and outside the political space. These group of people from different political parties gather here to make their position known regarding the cancellation of the rescheduled election in the Southern Ijaw local government area. The spokesperson of the group, who is also the chairman of the Independent Democrat Party, insists the election in the state was peaceful.
That the elections in Sagbama, Ekirima, Obia, Kolokmo Bukma, Yenogoa, Nembe were relatively very peaceful, fair and credible. That the initial skirmishes in Nembe and Ekirima local government areas were brought under control after intervention of the security agencies.
The group also condemned the late distribution of electoral materials, accreditation and voting in Southern Ijaw.
We strongly condemn the situation where materials were distributed late in the afternoon, accreditations are done in the evening, and voting done in the night in Southern Ijaw local government area, which outrightly negates all democratic norms.
Out on the street, members of the All Progressives Congress (APC) staged a protest demanding that the flag bearer of their party be declared winner. They were addressed by an official of INEC who assured them their petition will be forwarded to the appropriate authority. Meanwhile, the People's Democratic Party has issued a statement urging the people of the state to steer clear of the protesters and guard against any form of violence.
The former deputy governorship candidate of the All Progressives Congress in the November Kogi state governorship election, Mr. Abiodun Faleke, says he will not make himself available for swearing in with Yahaya Bello come January the 27th, 2016. Speaking at an APC stakeholders meeting in Kaba, Mr. Faleke disclosed that his action is in furtherance of his earlier letter written to the national leadership of the party, where he expressed his unwillingness to work with the party's governorship candidate.
Mixed reactions continue to trail the emergence of Mr. Yahaya Bello as governor-elect of Kogi State. The People's Democratic Party describes the election as a farce and vows to challenge the result at a tribunal. Although supporters and members of the APC in the Central Senatorial District are satisfied with the result of the supplementary polls, others from the Western Senatorial District believe former deputy governorship candidate to the late Abubakar Audu, Mr. Abiodun Faleke, was treated unfairly.
Governorship candidate to pair with Alhaji Yahaya Bello.
Some members of the APC are here at the Kaba Township Hall to deliberate on matters arising. The leader of the group urges the youth to avoid violence and show more respect for the rule of law. The event is still in progress when Mr. Faleke joins in. He is welcomed amid cheers from his supporters.
On your mandate we stand. On your mandate we stand. On your mandate, Biodun, on your mandate, James, on your mandate we stand.
Some members of the party call on the APC's leadership to ensure that justice prevails and the mandate of the people remains intact.
May I have the belief that this mandate that has been declared for Yahaya Bello will be retrieved from him and be given to the legitimate and rightful owner of that mandate. And it's no other person than whom? Faleke!
The law of the land says, before you will be able to stand an election as a governor, you must get a running mate. And that is the only reason for why, that is the only way you can be validly nominated for an election.
Mr. Faleke thanks members of the party for their support and advises the party to shun impunity and injustice.
There are two options they have put before us. And the first option is to take Deputy Governor of Yahaya Bello.
As some residents in the state await the swearing-in of the governor-elect in January, others head to court to seek redress in the matter.
Meanwhile, the Kogi State Governor-elect Yahaya Bello of the All Progressives Congress has received his certificate of return from the Independent National Electoral Commission. The INEC National Commissioner for the North Central, who presented the document at the INEC office in Lokoja, the state capital, scored the commission high in the conduct of the election. She also lauded the use of card readers in the conduct of elections in the country, saying that it's helped to boost the integrity of the electoral process. In his acceptance speech, the governor-elect lauded the electorate for believing in him and the APC, promising to lead the state towards a new direction. Mr. James Faleke, who was offered the deputy governorship position, however, failed to show up to collect his certificate of return. The Nigerian Senate has begun moves to check what they call the excesses of social media users through a bill. Indeed, that bill has passed second reading, but there seems to be strong opposition by civil society groups who say that the move is anti-democratic as it infringes on the freedom of expression. Well, joining us on the news at 10 to look at this controversy is the director of the International Press Center, Lagos, Mr. Lanre Arugundade. Thank you so much for joining us on the news at 10.
Thank you very much. Good evening.
Yeah, a lot has been said about it, but how do you perceive this new bill?
Well, the first point to make is that it's quite wrong to refer to this bill as a social media bill. The authors of the bill, or the author of the bill as it were, Senator Ibn Naala from Kebbi State, actually calls this bill Frivolous Petitions Prohibition Bill. That is the name of this bill. It's a very short bill. It has 4 sections, and it is the 4th section that actually talks about the social media. What this bill is saying, and it's necessary for people to understand this, is that any person who has any petition or statement against anybody in government or any other person must first go to a high court or a federal high court to depose to an affidavit that that petition or statement is not false before submitting that petition to an agency, of government. That is what it's saying. And then it's in section 3 and 4 where it says that if such a petition is published by any news medium, it could be a newspaper, it could be a radio, it could be a social media, without an affidavit, then that medium will be guilty of an offense under this act.
So, and
that offense is 2 years imprisonment or a fine of 4 million naira if it's a newspaper or radio or television, or a fine of 2 million naira if it's a social media. There's even no case for a first offender. So to call it an anti-social media bill is to reduce the gravity of this bill. As a matter of fact, it's an anti-democracy bill. It's an anti-freedom of expression bill, because it's saying ab initio that citizens have no right to complain about those in government. The essence of a petition and allegation is that you want to establish the truth of a matter. And we have seen civil society organizations using the Freedom of Information Act to request for information, to say that we have heard of allegation of fraud or in this particular institution, and we're using this act to request for information so that we can be clarified on this. So if you look at it at another level, this bill, if passed into law, would actually subvert the Freedom of Information Act and subvert the Constitution itself.
But some do say that there is a need for some sort of monitoring in terms of what we see on social media, or some sort of censorship in if that's how you want to call it. How do you think it should be done, if not in this particular way, which we don't agree with?
Well, I mean, you don't just wake up and decree and say that, well, you want to censor what goes on in social media, because it says if you have anything in WhatsApp, in text messages. So in a sense, they're telling us that they're going to have, a spy police that will now be spying on people's text messages on WhatsApp to know if a public official is abused, or not. There are issues about the social media. Some people are not happy about things that get published there. But the point really is that there are organizations that say that they represent, the social media. You have Internet Publishers Association, and a government that does not have ulterior motive, or a Senate that does not have ulterior motive, would want to engage, with those organizations. Now, it talks about the media. It talks about newspapers, the TV, and so on and so forth. We all know that journalism is governed by code of ethics. And all this code of ethics actually frown against, and in fact says that falsehood should not be published by any newspaper. So with those institutions in place and regulatory bodies in place, you begin to ask yourself, what is the essence of this? That is why I'm saying that there is something, behind this. And the whole idea really, is to guide the citizens, not just, the social media. You probably have a Facebook, Ijoma. Somebody, a friend, of yours on Facebook could have a petition and then put it on your Facebook. This law is saying that if such a thing appears on your Facebook without a sworn affidavit, then you could be guilty for an offense, you could be jailed, or you could be imprisoned. And really, it's quite embarrassing that we're discussing this at this age, at this century.
I'm afraid we're going to have to leave it there.
It's important to emphasize that it's an anti-people's bill, actually.
Thank you so much, Director of the International Press Center, Mr. Larry Arogundade, for joining us on the News at 10 tonight. Now, when the News at 10 returns, the federal government approves over 407 billion naira for the immediate payment of fuel subsidy, and that's on business. You join us again.